Travel through parallel worlds and obtain the Golden Finger mission system. Completing tasks according to the instructions will earn various rewards. Task 1. Worship the sectHowever. Looking at the towering buildings in front of me, the constant flow of vehiclesWhere's the father of the pit. Crossing the urban world, you give me a fantasy mission. Originally, traveling 10,000 years late, the fantasy cultivation world has now become a modern urban world. So, a new and unconventional operation came. Without a sect, I would open a sect. Successfully completed the hidden task and became the sect leader. Received divine rewards. And this good thing. Successfully completed the hidden mission, killed the demon lord until the form and spirit gathered and dispersed, and obtained a magical treasure reward. 3 rural activities, cultivating farmland. Who knew this place was actually a deserted and ancient forbidden land 10,000 years ago? Successfully completed the hidden task, conquered the wilderness. Received elixir rewards. As the hidden tasks were completed one by one, the remaining cultivators were shocked. In this era of spiritual scarcity, how could anyone reach such a level? Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. The beginning of the adventure against heaven. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The beginning of the adventure against heaven at dawn. The vast mountain range is like a sleeping giant, hidden under the thin veil of dawn. This is one of the ancient and mysterious primitive forests of Zixia. For explorers, it is like a maze full of unknown dangers and temptations. Shenmo, a solitary traveler wearing a light cloak and carrying a huge backpack, shuttled through the trees, gently waving his left hand as if blending with nature, instantly sending a snake hidden under a branch into the distant shadow. His movements were skilled and swift, as if he were performing a silent dance with the jungle. On the 3rd day of entering the Tongyou mountains, Shenmo's journey became particularly special. Although the outer edge has been developed into a tourist attraction, tourists can only taste it under the guidance of a guide, but he cleverly infiltrates among the tourists, taking the opportunity to delve deeper into this mysterious place. Shenmo's adventure was not reckless, but stemmed from his extraordinary identity. He stopped and took a deep breath, feeling the thick mist enveloping him. In his breath, he seemed to be in conversation with nature, with a long and deep breath that dispelled the cold morning. The breath he exhaled was like a white dragon breaking through the mist, leaving a clear mark on the old tree bark, showcasing his strength and extraordinary abilities. The disturbances of the mortal world do indeed interfere with cultivation, but the breathing rules in the mist seem to be closer to the secrets of heaven and earth. In just 3 days, I have noticed a significant improvement in cultivation, which is enough to offset the past half-month of hard work. A smile curved around Shenmo's mouth, indicating that his background was not ordinary, but came from another world. Xian Huang. Half a year ago, Shenmo unexpectedly traveled to the Xianhuang world, where the level of technology was not much different from the Earth he left, except for the legend of immortals and demons. Zixia has a long history and has inherited over 3,000 years of civilization. Although there is little conclusive evidence on the internet, Shenmo firmly believes that there are indeed traces of immortals hidden in this world. Along with his journey, there is also a portable system called Dengxian. The system promises to assist him on his journey to immortality and achieve immortality through tasks. Over the past 6 months, Shenmo has mastered the cloud and mist breathing technique with the help of systematic teaching, entered the realm of refining essence, and began to move towards a higher realm. Refining essence and transforming qi, refining qi and transforming spirit, refining spirit and returning emptiness, refining emptiness and combining the Tao, these are the 4 levels of immortality for ancient qi alchemists. Shenmo is steadily moving forward with this goal. With such cultivation, Shenhan was able to ignore the coldness and heat of the world, and his true qi flowed freely in his body, enough to resist all small disturbances. Whether it was the cold wind or poisonous snakes, insects or ants, he could not get close. After only half a year of staying in the New World, Shen Han achieved remarkable accomplishments, which not only came from the assistance of his immortal system, but also from his determination to cultivate day and night. However, the cloud and mist breath adjustment technique is only a basic skill. If Shen Han wants to enter the refining stage, he still needs to obtain the subsequent skill secrets, which involves the introductory guide to the Immortal Ascension system. Shen Han's gaze fell on a line of words on the system interface. Beginner's Guide. Hold the Immortal Ascension token to the Yunwu mountain range, worship at the Luoyun Taoist Academy, and you will receive the Purple Sun Refining Element technique. The prompt seemed like a long-awaited invitation. Shen Han thought the task was simple, so he seized the opportunity and embarked on the path of exploration. However, after wandering in the Yunwu Mountains for 3 days, he couldn't even catch the trace of Luoyun Daoyuan. If it weren't for the faint direction indicated by the immortal token in his chest, Shen Han would have been lost in this deep mountain and unable to persevere. Nevertheless, it is still difficult to find a monastery in the vast Yunwu Mountains. According to common sense, this cloud and mist mountain range, which covers a radius of 100 miles, should be the territory of the Luoyun Taoist Academy. I came with the Immortal Ascension token, and they should have sensed it. Shen Han was filled with doubts in his heart. But he did not give up. The shimmering token was like a silent drum, urging him to continue moving forward. Shen Han climbed the mountain and crossed the mountain, walking from dawn to sunset, and finally arrived at a clear mountain stream. The spring water pours down from the steep cliffs, and the steaming mist interweaves with the sunset, creating a dreamlike fairyland. Occasionally, a few deer herd are drinking water by the spring, curiously observing the unexpected intruder. The destination is right here. Shen Han took out a slightly fiery token from his arms and carefully examined the surrounding environment. As a cultivator, he noticed a layer of intangible spiritual power pervading here, seemingly hiding some secret. Immortal sect formation. Barrier. Or the entrance to the cave. His eyes sparkled with an exploratory light. However, Shen Han quickly sensed a hint of abnormality. He went to great lengths to come here, and regardless of whether the Luoyun Taoist Academy accepted him or not, someone would always come out to receive him. But the current situation appears unusually calm, with no trace of hidden sections. With the guidance of the breathing method, the essence slowly injected into the token. In the thin mist of the mountain stream, purple gas rose up, as if opening up layers of mysterious space. Shen Han opened a new world in front of him. There were beautiful caves with pavilions and towers. The buildings with cornices and arch of wooden architecture rose high on the peak. The stone steps around the mountainside led to the clouds. The rays of the sun were glimmering and the scene was amazing. However, that fleeting illusion was like a dream bubble, and the scene before Shen Mo suddenly changed, leaving only a collapsed mountain standing before him. The once prosperous pavilions and towers have been completely covered by dense greenery, and the cracks in the sky are like a broken scroll, reflecting the signs of decline on this land. The former fairyland is now only a barren relic. At the entrance to the fairyland, a huge stone monument stands proudly, with ancient characters like the imprint of time, containing 1,000 years of unwillingness and resentment. In the glorious 9 years of the Dayan era, the emperor sealed off the heavenly way with his supreme power, leaving no immortal path to be found in the world. The old man was unwilling to accept it and cultivated to become an immortal with the help of a blessed cave. He wanted to ascend to heaven with his sect, but he encountered a heavenly calamity, which destroyed the eternal foundation of the Luoyun sect. P.S. Seeking comments, flowers, evaluation tickets, rewards, monthly tickets. Guaranteed 4 changes, 1 comment plus 1 change, 500 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 100 book coin rewards plus 1 change, 3 monthly tickets plus 1 change. Chapter 2. The Glory of Luoyun Sect, Back Thousands of Years. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My ancestor once prophesied, where exactly are the immortal Miao descendants who saved the sect? Shenimo stared at those ancient characters, his thoughts sinking into chaos. The history of this world has a long and rich history. Before the Great Xia, there were times of conflict between the Great Qin, Dayu, and 100 Kingdoms, and the memory of the 9th year of Dayan has been sealed off for thousands of years. The glory of Luoyun sect has been a history for thousands of years. He was secretly shocked in his heart, did I travel 10,000 years later? Chapter 2. The interwoven fate of the Hardwalker and the mysterious AI. Having just arrived in this new world, Shenemo was filled with surprises when he first realized his system. The mundane life of his past life seems insignificant at this moment, and he looks forward to seeking the path of cultivation in this mysterious and challenging world, in order to achieve his dream of immortality. Having a system was like having an extraordinary assistant to him. Although he didn't feel like he was destined to be the protagonist, with the assistance of the system, Shenemo believed that he could find his own path in troubled times. However, he had not yet escaped from the stage of beginner guidance, and reality dealt him a heavy blow. Following the beginner's guidance, he embarked on the journey of practicing the hidden world sect, only to find that the sect had disappeared without a trace thousands of years ago. The originally simple introductory tutorial has now become an insurmountable dilemma. The beginner's guide still flickered with a red light, reminding him. Hold the Immortal Ascension Order and go to the Yinwu mountain range. If you join the Luoyun sect, you can learn the Purple Cloud Qi refining technique. The system interface appeared unusually blurry, and after a moment, a line of text popped up. The host can hold the Immortal Ascension Order, try to join the Luoyun sect, and complete the beginner task. Shenmo's heart suddenly quickened, and a deep sense of powerlessness surged in his heart. He has been with this immortal system for half a year and gradually understands that the system is not a smart life, but only operates according to preset procedures. In contrast, the artificial intelligence called Xiao AI classmate appears to be more agile and humane. Faced with the shutdown of the Hidden World sect, Shenemo understood that even without the benefits of new beginners, he could still study on his own with the Purple Cloud Qi refining secret scriptures, even if the progress would be slightly slower. Where can I find the subsequent techniques? He asked inwardly. System response. By completing the main and side quests, you can unlock more. Shenmo's eyes were bright and he immediately asked, how can we proceed with these tasks? System prompt. After completing the beginner's guide, you can start it after entering the sect. Shenemo smiled bitterly and muttered to himself, you shouldn't expect too much from intelligent systems. He decided to place his hope in the fallen cloud wonderland before his eyes. As a place where the Earth Immortal Powerhouse can carry the sect's ascent, the Luoyun sect must have hidden an undisclosed heritage, perhaps uncovering the secret methods to improve cultivation. Stepping into the fairyland, although Shenemo had a solid foothold, the changes in space as he crossed the barrier still left him momentarily dazed. His physique is different from that of an ordinary person, otherwise this momentary reversal would be enough to make him tremble. After adapting, he began to observe this mysterious world in detail. The interior of the fairyland forms its own heaven and earth, with no sun in the sky, only scattered light illuminating it. On the other hand, the earth stands a fractured giant peak that pierces into the clouds, as if it is a trace of ancient power. Amidst the ruins, Shenemo felt the peaceful breath of death, without any living creatures, only silence. Pushing open a decayed wooden door, the dusty wine jugs and jade cups in the attic recount the past prosperity. However, as the disaster struck, everything seemed to be instantly erased, leaving only silent ruins. Shenemo felt a chill surge in his heart, accelerating his pace to search for possible clues. Upon further exploration, he discovered that all literature related to cultivation had been cleared by mysterious forces, leaving only a blank book. Whether it is precious gold and silver talismans or legendary divine sense jade slips, none are spared. After a whole day of searching, Shenemo only found a few diary-like records and a golden scroll inside the main hall. Shenimo cautiously avoided the empty fairyland and chose to set up a tent outside for temporary shelter. At night, by the campfire, mosquitoes and small animals were attracted by the flames, and from time to time, wild cats and squirrels curiously peeked at Shenimo in the treetops. There was a hint of strangeness hidden in the tranquility of the night. While flipping through a yellowed ancient book, Shenimo felt fortunate that he had delved into ancient writing and could decipher the blurry textual records on the paper. These documents are all from the disciples of Yunhai Peak in the past, especially those unknown lower-level disciples. Their daily trivia is filled with the breakthroughs in cultivation of their senior brothers, subtle feelings towards their junior sisters, and the ups and downs of the summit. Occasionally, you may discover some inconspicuous magic secrets, but they are almost useless for the substantive path of cultivation. Shenimo, with a glimmer of hope, unfolded the exquisite silver scroll. However, the scroll did not contain any cultivation secrets as he had hoped, with only names arranged among them. With the help of recent knowledge accumulation, Shenimo struggled to identify the first few words of the volume. Feng Zhu Ming Shu. When his gaze moved to the end, he found that the place where his name should have been filled was only a blank space, identical to the deliberately erased traces of cultivation. Shenimo let out a light sigh, his heart filled with disappointment. This trip to Yunhai Peak seems to end empty-handed. It seems that I need to go back and find other ways to obtain the subsequent cultivation methods, and this intelligent auxiliary system is obviously unreliable. Shenimo pondered to himself, hesitating for a moment for the diary and scroll in his hand. In the end, he decided to keep them. After all, these are historical relics of 1,000 years. Although difficult to explain, they are also worth cherishing. Staring at the blank space at the end of the scroll, Shenimo suddenly had a whim and lightly scratched the scroll with the ashes from the campfire, leaving a mark of his own name. Perhaps even if Luoyun Peak has passed away, leaving a name as a symbol of the sect leader can still be a kind of commemoration. The incomplete burning charcoal marks left mottled marks on the scroll, forming a sharp contrast with the original elegance. At this moment, a familiar electronic sound sounded in Shenmo's ear. System prompt. After experiencing trials, the owner finally climbed to the top of the peak and was listed in the Peak Master Register, with his own strength. The real people in the various halls of the peak have no objection to this PS, seeking comments, flowers, evaluation tickets, rewards, monthly tickets. Guaranteed 4 changes, 1 comment plus 1 change, 500 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 100 book coin rewards plus 1 change, 3 monthly tickets plus 1 change. Chapter 3. Zixia Gas Refining Method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Congratulations to the Master for becoming the new leader of Yunhai Peak and achieving the hidden achievement of being the leader of one peak. Reward the Earth Demon Divine Skill. Pot Heaven. The Master has officially joined Yunhai Peak as the Peak Master. Novice guides the completion of the task and rewards the Purple Cloud Chi Refining Technique. Shenimo stared at the screen in shock, his thoughts stagnating like a sudden power outage. Just now, he was stuck at the bottleneck of the beginner's tutorial. In an instant, with just one stroke, he became the master of Yunhai Peak. This huge transformation made it difficult for him to accept for a while. And the final piece about the completion of beginner guidance further plunged him into long-term contemplation. After all, as the leader of the Luoyun sect, completing tasks is indeed logical, but this is also a kind of irony. Shenimo gritted his teeth and forcefully ignored the brainless system logic. His gaze shifted away from the screen, focusing on the mysterious scroll shimmering with golden light in front of him. He originally thought that the interpretation of the list of Patriarch Masters was deep enough, but he did not expect that this scroll contained such significant meaning that it could affect the succession of the Patriarch Masters. According to his inference, the last blank on the list may belong to the Earth Immortal Powerhouse who attempted to lead the sect to flight. Unfortunately, due to the isolation of heaven and earth, even the name was erased by the dust of history, leaving an opportunity for Shenimo. According to traditional procedures, the new leader not only needs to leave their name on the list, but also needs to obtain recognition from senior officials such as the Ancestral Master Hall, Elder Hall, and True Transmission Hall before taking over. And thousands of years ago, this was undoubtedly a difficult challenge that required the support and prestige of various forces. However, 10,000 years later, this process became simple, and the downfall of the Luoyun sect made no one dare to question Shenmo's succession. In this way, Shenmo cleverly avoided the difficulties in the beginner's tutorial in an almost comical way and leapt to become the leader of the sect. He scrutinized the crooked names on the directory, his mouth twitching uncontrollably. So, I defeated the system's faults with vulnerabilities. Obviously, conventional logic is not applicable in the face of such brainless systems of artificial intelligence. Shenmo murmured softly and then turned his attention to the task reward. Shenmo did not have high expectations for the identity of the sect leader. The thousand-year silence of the Luoyun sect has not even preserved a trace of inheritance. What he is looking forward to is the substantial gains that this mission will bring. Zixia Qi refining technique is his long-awaited follow-up technique. Although it may not be considered advanced in the path of cultivation, even if cultivated to the realm of refining essence, it is only several times the strength of ordinary people and still appears powerless in the face of modern weapons. However, compared to his other reward, the purple cloud Qi refining technique is simply insignificant. Shenmo's heart moved, and with a gentle grip of his right hand, a seemingly illusory green gourd appeared in his palm. The small gourd contained vast heaven and earth. On the system interface, several large characters are clearly reflected, revealing the new chapter he is about to embark on. Qianquan Drunken Dream, Tianyuan Secret Realm Chapter 13. In the dream, the world is wide, and the years in the bottle are long. This is not an ordinary skill, but a manifestation of the essence of the immortal path. With extreme cultivation, one can transform into an inner cave and step into the ranks of earthly immortals, truly reaching the pinnacle of perfection. Further advancement requires breakthroughs. Without reaching the realm, there is no way to peak. Even though he had a premonition, Shenmo couldn't conceal his inner shock when witnessing the technique of the drunken dreams of Qianquan. 36 heavenly gang and 70.2 earthly sha, these 100 transformations of divine power are not common in the human world, but treasures in the immortal realm. All worldly spells are derived from them, like the source of all things. The key is that divine powers do not require magic to drive them, and can be used solely through understanding. Although their power is limited, it is already a great power for ordinary people. He gently caressed the green gourd with his right hand, and in an instant, countless mysteries merged into his consciousness, as if becoming a new continent deep in his mind. Taking a regular plastic water dispenser from beside him, Shenmo lightly tapped his index finger, and his mind was infused into it with the drunken dream technique. The originally tiny space seemed to be instantly stretched open by invisible forces, like layers of ripples spreading outward, forming a hidden dimensional realm. The seemingly identical water bottle instantly expands its internal space several times and continues to expand. Suddenly, a crisp cracking sound came from the surface of the bottle, and cracks spread like spider webs. Shenmo saw the situation and quickly threw it towards the distance to avoid disaster. However, the shattered space did not stop, but instead devoured the bottle, and the raging cracks were like the fangs of a giant beast, instantly tearing apart the mortal. Shenmo stared at the disappearing point and pondered deeply. Although it is difficult for ordinary things to hold a stable space, even if a cultivator in the Qi transformation realm touches this uncontrollable edge recklessly, it is difficult to escape misfortune. The power of space is undoubtedly an unstoppable giant wave for low-level practitioners at this moment. Shenmo's eyes sparkled with insight. Perhaps, I can use the instability of mortals to construct something similar to a space bomb. Although the scope is limited, it is definitely a fatal blow for low-level cultivators. His lips outlined a smile of successful strategy. If other cultivators were to know his techniques, they would probably exclaim that he is a foolish waste of talent. Ordinary cultivators seeking a storage treasure require precious void crystals, and top-level spatial powers like Qianquan Drunken Dream are the exclusive treasure trove of great powers. No one would use them for such adventurous experiments. Shenemo once again gathered a trace of Drunken Dream power, and an empty bottle instantly turned into an unstable space bomb, without hesitation throwing it towards the nearby rock wall. P.S. Seeking comments, flowers, evaluation tickets, rewards, monthly tickets. Guaranteed 4 changes, 1 comment plus 1 change, 500 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 100 book coin rewards plus 1 change, 3 monthly tickets plus 1 change. Chapter 4. Did you really go to Burma? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Although the tiny spatial cracks do not appear massive, they exhibit astonishing destructive power, silently penetrating the sturdy rock walls. The cracks spread rapidly like radiating spider webs, originating from an unexpectedly triggered space explosion. After countless attempts, Shenemo delved deeper into the subtle relationship between the size of the space explosion and the timing of its detonation. Despite being pleasantly surprised, he also noticed the quiet depletion of divine consciousness. Although the Hu Tian Shentong does not require the constraints of realm or magic, each space opening is a heavy absorption of divine energy. Shenemo, who had just entered the refining realm, found it difficult to frequently use it. Hastily swallowing compressed food, Shenemo returned to his temporary residence in the tranquility of the moonlit mountains, using cloud and mist breathing techniques to enter a brief state of rest. Under the darkness, the misty mountains gradually fell asleep, while the outside world was brewing even greater storms. The first dawn of the morning awakened Shenemo, who was immersed in the rhythm of the cloud and mist breathing technique and awakened from his dream of cultivation. Since comprehending the cloud and mist breathing technique, Shenemo has been accustomed to using it instead of sleep. Through the flow of breath, he can feel the rhythm between heaven and earth, which can better improve his mental state than sleeping. Normally, 4 hours of cultivation can meet Shenmo's energy needs throughout the day. However, yesterday's cultivation exceeded the norm, and it was not until now that I regained my vitality. Shenemo speculates that this is closely related to the spiritual consumption brought about by using the Hutian divine technique the day before. After tidying up the campsite, Shenemo decided to end the trip. He cleared the campfire and camp without leaving a trace, as his goal had been achieved and he no longer needed to continue deep cultivation here. Although the cultivation efficiency of Yinwu Mountain is extremely high, he is not yet ready to completely isolate himself from the world and become a hermit. Considering that his family may be worried about losing contact for a long time, Shenemo decided to return early. Before leaving, he gazed at the place called Luoyun Dongtian for the last time. The cave opened with the ascending immortal order, although it is visible again, has also disrupted the original balance. The cracks in the sky are gradually eroding the earth, and the collapse of the cloud-falling cave is only a matter of time. Shenemo only used the power of the pot heaven divine tongue to slightly conceal the entrance of the cave, and then decisively left. Compared to the difficulties he faced when he first entered the mountains, Shenemo now, with his extraordinary physical abilities, crossed the boundary of the Yinwu Mountains in just half a day. There, he saw the roads of the scenic area, as well as the figures of tourists strolling with the tour guide, in stark contrast to the previous desolation. Shenemo shuttled through the bustling crowd and successfully returned to the scenic area, boarding the shuttle bus on his way back. Until now, his phone only reopened, and the screen was filled with a mountain of messages and missed calls from the past 4 days, like a gust of wind and rain. Most of the news comes from a number affectionately labeled as an older sister. I heard your vacation journey has started. Young people should take more risks. What's wrong with staying at home? If you're short of money, remember to let me know. Her words exuded care. Last night I messaged you, why didn't I reply? Did I meet someone? How was the other person? Did they make you fall in love? The old lady's doubts were shot like a barrage of bullets. I heard that the situation in Myanmar has been turbulent recently, with many rumors circulating. Some say it's human trafficking, while others say it's a victim of mysterious witchcraft. You must be careful not to venture into dangerous situations. Her worries are like an electric current, piercing through the heart. Don't go to the seaside either. It is said that there is a radiation leak in the sea area of Ingzhou, and strange creatures are rampant. Even the eight-headed snake has become the protagonist of the news. The old lady's words carried an undeniable seriousness. Hey, you should respond. There was a hint of anxiety in the old lady's voice. Did you really go to Burma? Her heartstrings were tense, waiting for Shenmo's response. During the 4 days of exploration in Yinwu Mountain, the elder sister's text messages and phone calls were as dense as rainstorm, and would ring once every 2 or 3 hours. Although Shenmo was amused by the idea of being mistaken for going to Myanmar to have his kidney taken, his sister's concern made him feel warm in his heart. Since Shenmo's time traveling, he has focused on cultivation and gradually distanced himself from his old friends, even having little contact with his nominal parents. However, only this sister Xinyu has consistently cared for him and provided support for his life. Half a year is enough to make a cold stone warm, let alone Shenmo's vibrant life. Shenmo has a loose personality, but it is out of gratitude to Xinyu that he did not choose to immediately devote himself to the cultivation of famous mountains and rivers. As his finger slid over the screen, he responded to Xinyu for the first time, "Don't worry, everything is fine." The phone rang almost as he pressed the send button, and Xinyu's anxiety came through the phone line. Shenmo smiled and answered slightly mischievously, "I'm playing in the mountains and I'm heading back now. Don't worry. The phone's battery is running low." Hang up first without waiting for Xinyu to refute. Shenmo quickly ended the call and decisively added her number to the blacklist. He knew that once she was asked to start a lengthy speech, it would take at least 3 hours to finish. So, he looked at the flickering messages and angry emoticons on the screen, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised. At the same time, the interaction between Shenmo and his sister did not stop, and the hidden changes in the Yinwu Mountains were quietly brewing in his seemingly calm life, waiting for the moment when the veil was lifted. Far away from the edge of the Yinwu Mountain scenic area, tourists reluctantly left their neighboring cities after receiving proper arrangements. Near the entrance of the mountain range, the engineering and mechanical armies worked in perfect harmony to build a temporary command center. Soon, a helicopter landed lightly on the newly leveled apron, and a middle-aged man dressed in gorgeous attire and imposing demeanor stepped out of the cabin and into the command center belonging to the Nanjun army. P.S. Seeking comments, flowers, evaluation tickets, rewards, monthly tickets. Guaranteed 4 changes, 1 comment plus 1 change, 500 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 100 book coin rewards plus 1 change, 3 monthly tickets plus 1 change. Chapter 5. Consensus within and outside the court. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Following him was an old man dressed in a blue Taoist robe, holding a brush of dust in his hand, as if carrying a mysterious aura of immortality. This majestic leader is the Marquis of Nanjun, who is in charge of the 3 provinces, and the Yinwu Mountains are his jurisdiction. Just yesterday, a master stargazer at the Qingtian Observatory in Kyoto detected celestial anomalies within the Great Xia region. Despite sudden changes in the situation, they were still unable to accurately locate them. Until dawn today, the closure of the cave once again caused a dramatic change in the celestial phenomena. The Qingtian Observatory, based on calculations from the purple microstar, finally confirmed that the cave was hidden in the Yinwu Mountains. After learning of this news, the Marquis of Nanjun quickly closed the entrance to the mountain range and invited the chief priest of the mansion, who was skilled in astrology and fortune-telling, to go together to explore the exact location of the cave. On the surface, blocking the mountains may seem grand, but in reality, this is just the first step taken by the Marquis of Nanjun after careful consideration. He understood that this was just the opening of the prelude. Chapter 6 The Awakening of Spiritual Tides. Since Emperor Dayan cut off the passage between heaven and earth 10,000 years ago, the spiritual energy of the Xianhuang realm has gradually become thin. Some experts predict that one day, the spiritual energy here will completely disappear. To prevent the end of this world from approaching, the immortals and God stayed in the human world and joined forces to seal the spiritual meridians, setting a tidal cycle of spiritual energy every 3,000 years to maintain a stable cycle of spiritual energy resources. In the previous period of spiritual exhaustion, practitioners fell from the clouds, and the turmoil caused by power changes lasted for hundreds of years. The founder of the Great Xia dynasty established a dynasty during turbulent times, quelling various disputes, and thus creating today's prosperous era of the Great Xia. Now, with the arrival of a new spiritual tide, mythical creatures and extraordinary cultivators are returning one after another, and the Hidden World Sect is eager to challenge the existing power structure. The imperial family of the Great Xia dynasty is not the foundation of practitioners, with limited heritage, making it difficult to compete with those profound hidden sections. However, in the early spiritual tide, imperial power and its military power still held an absolute advantage. As long as you seize this opportunity and control the key cultivation resources, the transcendent position of the Great Xia imperial power can be stabilized. This is a consensus within and outside the court. The caves and blessed places that manifest in the spiritual tide are of utmost importance. They are either ancient ancestral sites or spiritual holy sites that nurture the treasures of heaven and earth, both of which contain unparalleled value. Especially in the era of scarce spiritual energy, the cave of heaven and earth can provide some spiritual energy, ensuring that practitioners do not fall due to the depletion of spiritual energy, which is crucial for the future of Xia. In the deep of the whole earth, there are countless ancient sleeping beings. They are waiting for the recovery of the essence of heaven and earth under the protection of the secret realm, which is enough to awaken their power. These secret realms, for cultivators, are like treasures in an endless treasure trove, with immeasurable strategic value. Since the isolation of heaven and earth, no new secret realm has been born, and each secret realm has become a coveted target of various forces. The Yunwu Mountains, this vast land, although the imperial family of the Great Xia has ambitions, may not be able to fully control all the secret territories. Timely compromise can also exchange rich benefits from those hidden sections. As the leader of this exploration of the secret realm, the Marquis of Zhenjun understands that this will be an important opportunity for him to gain huge benefits and even challenge the throne. He was burning with fervent anticipation in his heart, nodding to the immortal Xingqian Taoist beside him and gesturing, "Master Xingqian, I trouble you for tracking the location of the secret realm." Xingqian Taoist maintained a calm smile, but did not immediately promise. "Marquis, if the secret realm is hidden and not exposed, even if the supervisor of the Imperial Academy takes action, it is difficult to accurately locate it. The power of the old Taoist is insignificant, so I dare not speak lightly about this matter." His words exuded caution. Marquis Zhenjun said calmly, "Master Xingqian, don't worry, just lock in the approximate position. The successors of the Di lineage are already on their way, and they will use the energy of heaven and earth to determine the exact coordinates of the secret realm." These words made the smile of the Xingqian Taoist even brighter. He gently waved the dust in his hand, and a huge altar of Dharma appeared out of thin air, shaking the entire command center. The Marquis of Zhenjun's eyes flickered with anticipation. "Master, you carry the Dharma altar with you. Do you still have a storage artifact?" Xingqian Taoist shook his head and sighed. "The spiritual energy has been cut off for 3,000 years, and even divine tools have been difficult to maintain their spiritual energy for a long time. In today's cultivation world, there are very few storage artifacts that I cannot control. This is just a mustard talisman from a sect, a disposable consumable, far from being a true storage treasure." As he spoke, the Stardust Taoist stepped onto the Dharma altar and instantly brought about changes in the world. The spiritual energy around the altar gathered like a tide. He used his footwork, pinched the northern dipper seal technique, and the formation flag principle rose. Under the daytime sky, the stars around the altar shone brightly, like stars falling into the human world. With a wave of the sleeve of the Xingqian Taoist robe, dozens of spiritual stones exploded in the air, pushing the density of spiritual energy to the extreme. Please guide me by the stars to find the path to the secret realm. He solemnly paid his respects to the Big Dipper chart. As the words of Master Xingqian fell, the Big Dipper seemed to receive instructions, transforming into a huge compass, pointing towards the depths of the Yinwu Mountains, like a ferry overlooking the mortal world, guiding the world. The power of time and space arranged by Shen Imo collapsed instantly under the traction of starlight, and the cloud-falling secret realm was once again revealed in the world. Xingqian Daochang showed a surprised expression. He didn't expect the process of exploring the secret realm to be so smooth. I was about to share this discovery with the Marquis of Zhennan, but with the intervention of starlight, the barrier that maintained a balance for thousands of years finally broke down in the distant Luoyun secret realm. A deafening roar echoed through the sky, causing the previously damaged cloud-falling secret realm to collapse at a speed visible to the naked eye. The passage connecting the present world also closed in an instant, leaving endless silence. In an instant, the Luoyun cave disappeared like a phantom among the misty peaks, and the mysterious changes in it made the star-picking Taoist lose his former immortal spirit. A bright red blood stain overflowed from his lips, wetting his Taoist robe. The star totem above the altar suddenly shattered, and under strong vibrations, a clear crack spread from under the feet of the star-picking Taoist, as if to split the sacred altar in half. Chapter 6. Rumors and Rumors. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Earth Immortals of the Luoyun sect attempted to take advantage of the opportunity to ascend, but at this moment they encountered an unprecedented disaster. The hidden heritage of the entire sect was beyond the reach of the star-picking Taoist's astrological deduction. The sudden upheaval shocked the Marquis of Nanjun. Although the star-picking Taoist was not a reclusive expert, in the current era of spiritual energy, the strength of the Qi transformation realm was rare, otherwise it would not have been respected and worshipped by the Marquis's mansion. However, this highly accomplished cultivator suffered such backlash solely based on the calculation of the location of the cave, which is rare in the history of cultivation. Has there been any change in the Dongtian incident? The Marquis of Nanjun asked with a worried expression. The star-picking Taoist's mind was shaken at this moment, and the pain of the spell's backlash left him with no time to care about anything else. Only the majestic force from the depths of the cloud and mist mountains seemed to devour him as if heaven and earth were incompatible. Fortunately, that force did not target him. It only needed to break the spell and disappear without a trace. Otherwise, even a trace of remaining power would crush his soul. Closing his eyes and reminiscing about the invincible power, the star-picking Taoist felt lingering fear and urgently warned the Marquis of Nanjun. The Marquis's mansion should not meddle in the secret affairs of Yinwu Mountain's cave, and should not have any illusions about the cave. That cave already has its owner. Yawn. As soon as Shen Imo stepped out of the car door, he unconsciously sneezed. He gently pressed down on the slightly sour tip of his nose and asked himself in confusion, as a refined spirit realm, his breathing method that operates around the world can already resist cold and heat. How could he suddenly catch a cold? Perhaps someone mentioned it secretly. Shen Mo's mind flashed with this idea, and he immediately set it aside and walked straight towards his rented cottage. Wencheng, a city that thrived due to large coal mines, gradually declined as its mineral reserves ran out. The old urban area is devastated, surrounded by abandoned factories and residential areas, while the new urban area has become the center of the city. Shen Imo lived here for 3 months and chose the old city area mainly because the rent was low. He could rent an independent small courtyard for only a few hundred yuan. Although the geographical location is slightly remote, it does not hinder his simple living needs. Moreover, due to the abandonment of surrounding factories, the environment in the old city area has been improved, and even nearby abandoned mines have shown signs of revival. Passing through a quiet alley, Shenimo walked into his small courtyard of about 100 square meters. Pushing open the mottled wooden door, Shenimo stepped into a courtyard that had been eroded by time. At his feet was a path paved with stone slabs, and an antique wooden corridor meandered through it. Vines wrapped around it like green ribbons, adding a touch of profound charm. On the left side of the courtyard, a lush persimmon tree stands tall. On the square stone stool below, the texture of the chessboard is clearly visible. Although Shenimo is not proficient in chess, the chessboard seems to be quietly telling stories of the past. He took off his backpack and sat on the ground, immersing his thoughts in this tranquility, allowing his tired soul to rest for a moment. On his journey to the Yunwu Mountains, Shenimo appeared relaxed on the surface, but his heart was as tense as a string. Especially after experiencing the shock of the fallen cloud's secret realm, the powerful force that could erase life exceeded his cognitive scope, putting great pressure on his spirit. Now, returning to this familiar little world, he can truly relax. Shenimo closed his eyes and sat still, taking a deep breath. The subtle rhythm of the cloud and mist mind technique quietly flowed in his heart, washing his soul like spring water. Time quietly passes, and the entire courtyard is immersed in a peaceful atmosphere. Suddenly, a crisp, glass-like sound echoed in Shenmo's heart, and the rhythm of his mind spread. Within a dozen meters, spiritual energy began to gather. The leaves of the persimmon tree gently sway, and the green lilies on the corridor dance gracefully in the breeze, as if sensing the gathering spiritual power. As these spiritual energies merged with the rhythm of the mind technique into Shenmo's meridians, he slowly opened his eyes and a hint of sharpness flashed through his gaze. In an instant, the warm wind in the courtyard seemed to transform into a cold autumn breeze. Fallen leaves were falling, and the leaves that had just fallen from the branches were dyed with a mysterious dark yellow. However, that moment of silence was fleeting, and Shenmo's gaze returned to calm. Everything returned to tranquility. I have finally taken this step. Shenmo took a light breath and a satisfied smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. After half a year of hard work, his breakthrough in the cloud-falling secret realm allowed him to leap from the early stage of refining to the middle stage. In the realm of refining essence, accumulating essence is crucial, and the difference between the early and middle stages is not significant. Although the cloud and mist heart technique is a foundational technique, its role was negligible after Shenmo officially entered the middle stage of refining essence, let alone breaking through to the realm of transforming qi. However, Shenmo holds the follow-up technique, purple cloud qi refining technique, in his hand. During this period, his cultivation speed will significantly improve, and breaking through the qi transforming realm is no longer an unattainable dream. Witnessing the tragic situation in the cloud-falling secret realm, Shenmo's desire to enhance his strength grew stronger. As the new leader of the Luoyun sect, he understands that only with sufficient strength can he protect himself in the face of possible crises. Shenmo was about to return to the quiet room to practice the purple cloud qi refining technique when he suddenly noticed a slight gurgling sound coming from his stomach. It was then that he realized that he had not eaten for a whole day, and even his days in Yunwu Mountain were replaced by compressed meals, never truly tasting the taste of delicious food. Shenmo has also heard of the stories of those ancient cultivators who, in an era of scarce spiritual energy, relied on their talents to break through to the realm of refining essence. However, due to a lack of external spiritual nourishment, they were forced to consume a large amount of ordinary food to maintain their vitality, and even passed down the legend of eating cows in a day. However, in modern society, the spiritual energy is abundant, and although it is not scarce, food is still indispensable in supplementing the essence. Entering the room, Shenmo caught a glimpse of the old refrigerator being empty. He let out a sigh, pushed the door open, and strolled through the alleys of the ancient town, heading towards the bustling market. The streets are sparsely populated, and in the vegetable market, only a few elderly people with white hair are carefully selecting fresh vegetables and chatting about daily life. Their conversation was like a leisurely town ballad. Suddenly, the words of a vendor's aunt caught Shenmo's interest. "Have you heard? Someone has found strange traces in an abandoned mine. This sentence instantly ignited the enthusiasm of the elderly, and they all gathered around to discuss this mysterious topic. What you're talking about is the strange news from the night before yesterday. An old man asked. P.S. Seeking comments, flowers, evaluation tickets, rewards, monthly tickets. Guaranteed 4 changes, 1 comment plus 1 change, 500 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 100 book coin rewards plus 1 change, 3 monthly tickets plus 1 change. Chapter 7. The Lord of the Cave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few idle young people heard about an ancient tomb under the mine and broke into it late at night, only to be scared to death. When they returned, they claimed to have seen a dragon. Another ant interjected. You old miners, how could you believe such absurd things? A hostage questioned. The world is changing rapidly, and strange things are constantly happening online. Some people claim to have seen giant apes in Changbai Mountain, while others have captured multi-headed snakes in the ruins of Yingzhou. Even the nearby Yinwu Mountain seems to be hiding secrets. The Marquis' mansion in Zhenjun has blocked the mountains and forests, and there hasn't been much online reporting about this. If it weren't for my cousin's friend working there, I wouldn't have known, another ant added. So, some things are better believed to be true than not true. Shenimo nodded inwardly, accustomed to rumors about this old city area, but he never associated those rumors with himself. However, when the old man firmly recounted the blockade of Yinwu Mountain, Shenmo's heart experienced subtle fluctuations. The Zhennan army blocked Yinwu Mountain, which happened shortly after he left, making him unable to help but think of his past experiences. A bold idea quietly emerged in his mind. Is the blockade of Yinwu Mountain by the Marquis of Zhennan related to me? Shenmo was puzzled in his heart, his thoughts surging like an undercurrent. The sudden and shocking news disrupted Shenmo's original plan. After hastily purchasing some ingredients in the market, he quickly returned home, and the first thing he did was to immerse himself in the ocean of the internet to search for clues. As the old man from the market said, the online world seems to be silent on this matter, and the official announcement of Yinwu Mountain no longer shows any updates. Even the recommendations about the place on tourism application platforms have quietly disappeared. However, beneath some past travel videos of the Yinwu Mountains, Shenimo discovered scattered discussions, and the timing of these comments coincided with the old man's description, revealing signs of the scenic area urgently evacuating tourists. This undoubtedly confirms the old man's statement that some changes have indeed occurred in the Yinwu Mountains. The blockade of the Yinwu Mountains by the Xia court is highly likely related to the secret of Luoyun cave heaven. Shenmo's heartstrings tightened as he understood that the great Xia was not the familiar China of his past life. It was an ancient empire that stood for 3,000 years, transcending the cycle of dynasties. Although the Xia was not strictly a feudal system, its enduring rule must have had its unique wisdom. However, Shenmo remained vigilant about this unfamiliar country, afraid that his secrets would be discovered by the court and cause unnecessary trouble. Shenmo tried hard to suppress his inner worries and began to examine every detail of his actions in the Yinwu Mountains. As a famous tourist destination in the summer, there are hundreds of thousands of tourists every day during the holiday season, and it is almost impossible to detect them. On my way to Luoyun Cave, I took every step to ensure that there were no traces left. Even the garbage was destroyed with a space grenade, leaving no trace when I left the scenic area. There was no movement from the court. The first opening of Luoyun Cave was yesterday afternoon, and even if the court's reaction was slow, it was more than enough to mobilize troops overnight. But they did not immediately blockade the mountain range. Instead, they took action after I left, indicating that their understanding of Dongtian was limited and their response was not quick enough. Due to the impending collapse of the disaster, all information will disappear into the shattered space in just half a day. At that time, even if the court wants to investigate, it is powerless. After Shenmo pondered deeply, the worries in his heart gradually dissipated. Based on current information, Shenmo believes that the matter of Luoyun Dongtian should not be a major concern. Unless the court can lock in the position at the last moment of the collapse of the cave, it is almost impossible. Shenmo was secretly convinced in his heart. At the same time, inside the Jinluan Hall deep in the imperial city, an angry voice disrupted the tranquility of the hall. What do you mean by that? The elderly monarch sitting on the throne lost his usual composure in his face at this moment. In the dim pupils, a sharp radiance flashed away, like the power of the imperial capital's revived dragon veins, transforming into an invisible yet powerful pressure that enveloped the entire palace of the chief imperial censor. The dragon pattern in the mural seems to be awakened at this moment, with golden eyes pointing directly at the location of the supervisor, as if conveying some mysterious message. The supervisor's body trembled slightly, and then respectfully bowed to the Xia Emperor, with an undeniable authority in his voice. Your Majesty, this was spoken by the head of the Zhennan Marquis' mansion, the Xinghe Immortal. The Shadow Scout verified the testimony of the 51 generals present and confirmed the situation at that time. The Yunwu mountain cave on the stargazing platform has indeed lost its trace. There may be two possible explanations. Either the cave collapses on its own and cannot be tracked, or someone deliberately obscures the observation. He continued, the possibility of the former is extremely low, and the tide of spiritual energy is flourishing. No one can easily destroy an independent small world. Therefore, we can only consider the second possibility. The cave of Yunwu Mountain is not an ownerless object. The momentum on Emperor Xia's body instantly converged, and the palace returned to its original tranquility. However, beneath this tranquility, there was a deep sense of tension hidden. The Lord of the Cave. His voice was old and deep, filled with awe and anticipation. As the king of the Great Xia, Emperor Xia naturally would not lose his composure due to the gains and losses of a cave, and his vision was even more profound. However, if there is a master in this cave, the situation will undergo a dramatic change. Dongtian is a treasure nurtured by heaven and earth, equivalent to a microcosm. Most of the Dongtian in the Great Xia dynasty are controlled by the Hidden World Sect. But they are just sojourners of the cave, not true masters. Only those immortals who can integrate their existence with the heaven and earth, and promote themselves to become earthly immortals, can be called the masters of the heaven and earth. Such a level of existence, even if soaring to the heavenly realm, can still become a giant, and they are even rarer in the human era. Nowadays, before the emperor cut off the passage between heaven and earth, most earthly immortals chose to ascend to immortality, with very few remaining in the Xianhuang realm and even fewer remaining immortal for thousands of years. Such earthly immortals, returning in the era of spiritual revival, are enough to shake the existing pattern of the Xia. With the revival of spiritual energy, the speed at which the power of the earth immortals who have merged into the cave heaven recovers far exceeds that of ordinary people. Even if they have the cave heaven, it is difficult to ambush them. The threat from the senior members of the Hidden World Sect appears insignificant compared to a awakened Dongtian, and Dixian Qin Tianjian's words were serious and firm. Emperor Xia's eyes were deep, and he slowly shook his head, rejecting the idea. We must gather the earth immortal with Farah before those sects detect it, at least not let him stand on the side of the sect. P.S. Seeking comments, flowers, evaluation tickets, rewards, monthly tickets. Guaranteed 4 changes, 1 comment plus 1 change, 500 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 100 book coin rewards plus 1 change, 3 monthly tickets plus 1 change. Chapter 8. Zixia Qi Refining Secret Classic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Under the unshakable consensus of the authority of the Earth Immortal, we must act with caution and not pursue the whereabouts of that Earth Immortal without confirming its specific identity. Next, please ask the supervisor to go to the treasure trove of Lanhuan and explore clues in the Sea of Books. The appearance of the Immortal's cave on Yunwu Mountain may reveal some connection between the two. At this moment, decision-makers in the palace are discussing how to deal with the issue of the new Earth Immortal, while Shenmo, a fake superpower, is immersed in the online world, fiercely debating with his virtual companions on the other end of the screen. On the day when he first stepped into the Yunwu Mountains, he coincidentally collided with the surge of spiritual tide again, and videos of various extraordinary phenomena emerged like a flood. There are also clumsy special effects imitations, and even blurry images captured using door mirrors. However, amidst numerous false information, there are indeed clues to some truly extraordinary creatures. For example, fox fairies disguised as adults seeking rewards, spirit monkeys exchanging currency for fruits in scenic areas, and mysterious cats that can chop big trees with one palm. The online discussion about spiritual revival has been raging, causing Shenmo to return to the online world and mistakenly believe that he has entered a brand new version upgrade. Although most netizens only took the opportunity to liven up, Shenmo was skeptical about these news, but such a high level of attention still surprised him. In fact, as early as the days of practicing the cloud and mist breathing technique, Shenmo noticed a significant increase in spiritual energy, as if reproducing the prosperous scene of ancient cultivation. With the nourishment of spiritual energy, there will inevitably be extraordinary lives awakened by some demon bloodlines, which Shenmo had anticipated. What surprised him was that public opinion changed so rapidly, and the Great Xia court held an open attitude towards it, taking a default stance on various remarks. This indicates that the situation has exceeded their control. Shenmo looked at all of this with a relaxed attitude as a bystander, until he commented below a video of a stray cat stealing bread, innocent and innocent. A user with the ID Miaowudaoren and a cute black cat avatar immediately sent a serious private message to Shenmo, requesting him to withdraw inappropriate remarks against the cat. Miaowu Daoist firmly believes that after the revival of spiritual energy, the demon race will surely revive and enjoy the same rights as humans. Shenmo's comments were seen by him as a personal insult to the cat, and he warned that if not deleted, he would face liquidation. At first, Shenmo thought it was a joke, but in the conversation, he found that the other person's attitude was serious, clearly believing in his own viewpoint. Based on the tone and typing rhythm of Taoist Miaowu, Shenmo judged that he was a primary school student deeply obsessed with fantasy. Faced with this second-tier atmosphere, Shenmo couldn't help but joke, "This silly cat is raised by your family." Unexpectedly, this sentence ignited the other party's anger and sparked intense online debates. Wise Taoist. Stop your incarnation attack. Does this count as prejudice against the alien race? Taoist. Don't think that the demon race is weak now, and the situation after spiritual awakening is unpredictable. Abyssal Eye. Do you have any understanding of the revival of spiritual energy from your words? Taoist. Those who know this matter will not speak, and those who do not know will not ask. The interests involved are too complex and not beneficial to you. It can only be said that they are profound and unfathomable. Online information has already been cleaned up. I can only tell you that those who understand naturally understand, and explanations that do not understand are also in vain. You just need to know that the waves below this water surface are turbulent. Shenmo was amused by the Taoist's wit and thought to himself that he might still be a childish person. However, Shenmo did not want to continue his entanglement. He had already spent too much time practicing today, so he casually blocked the Taoist and stood up to prepare for dinner. Bang! In the dim basement of Wencheng, a little black cat angrily threw its old phone to the ground, and its voice echoed in the open space. How could it be so unreasonable? With a childish voice filled with indignation, the kitten stomped on the screen, and what caught the eye was a striking red exclamation mark. You have been blacklisted and cannot send messages. This little cat is only the size of a palm, and its whole body is pitch black, with only a touch of pure white on its paws that catches the eye like wearing gloves. It is extremely cute. The little cat's face was now filled with human-like expressions, and anger burned in its blue and red eyes. On the side, a tall maned cat lay quietly, its eyes filled with heartache as it looked at the phone under the kitten's feet. It was a rare treasure they exchanged from a little girl with hundreds of transparent gemstones. Ordinary cat monsters do not have this privilege, only intelligent cat monsters can access it. If it weren't for that, the main cat would have taught that kitten a lesson long ago. However, facing the royal family, it can only endure. The main cat lowered its body and gently rubbed its large head against the kitten, trying to appease, saying, "The king doesn't need to be angry about human trivialities. Our demon race is born in heaven and earth, and we don't need their approval. They are just our prey." Upon hearing this, the kitten turned to the main cat, its small paws resembling the cheeks of the big cat in a cat paw boxing. Stupid. Stupid. Now that spiritual energy has just recovered, our cat race is still weak, and humans are the dominant force in this world. We need to quietly grow and strive for the right to speak out. The current world is not solely based on strength. They have their own civilized rules, and we must adapt to and utilize the internet. I opened an account to guide humans to become our cat slaves and expand our influence, but that despicable human. At this point, the kitten's bright eyes flickered with sparkling tears. Unexpectedly, a petite Maine cat unleashed a feline version of the punish fist. Despite the cat's insignificant attack, the big cat still showed an indescribable innocent expression. "What should we do?" it asked with a hint of firmness in its voice. "We must make that human apologize, that's the bottom line." The kitten waved its paws, with a small flame burning in its eyes. "But your majesty, your communication ability is limited. How can you force him to bow down and admit his mistake?" the attendant cat reminded anxiously on the side. The main cat squinted slightly, with a rare sly smile on the corner of its mouth. After 3 days of exploration, I have mastered the most mysterious tool of humanity. Once activated, it will surely make them submit." The big cat's eyes flickered with anticipation. "What are you talking about? Is it the box they're talking about?" Chapter 9 Gifts in the Information Age. In Shenmo's view, those childish comments on the internet are just seasonings of life and do not require too much attention. As night fell and he enjoyed a sumptuous dinner, his daily cultivation began. In the corner of Shenmo's courtyard, there was a small house that he had transformed into a peaceful training room, with only one cattail mat inside. Sitting cross-legged, his gaze fell on the flashing system interface. System prompt. Newcomer guide task completed. Do you want to receive rewards? After confirmation, the task bar guided by the beginner disappeared, and a purple ancient book quietly appeared, which was the Purple Cloud Chi Refining Secret Classic that Shenmo had obtained. P.S. Seeking comments, flowers, evaluation tickets, rewards, monthly tickets. Guaranteed 4 changes, 1 comment plus 1 change, 500 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 100 book coin rewards plus 1 change, 3 monthly tickets plus 1 change. Chapter 9. Little Blue Cat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shenmo's mood trembled slightly as he slowly opened the page and began a new chapter. The method of refining chi is the foundation of all things, and ordinary people need to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in order to be extraordinary. The Purple Cloud Chi Refining Secret Classic records how to absorb the first wisp of purple cloud spiritual energy between the alternation of sun and moon. Cultivate to the highest realm, which can endow the vitality with the power of purple glow, drive away evil and avoid demons. The book not only includes cultivation methods, but also covers a lot of cultivation knowledge and small spells. Even after years of accumulation, it still has extraordinary value for Shenmo. After completing the study, Shenmo officially began his cultivation. At this moment, although it is late at night and unable to collect purple clouds, it does not hinder the operation of the chi refining method. As his breath merged into the cloud and mist breathing method, spiritual energy flowed into the cultivation room like a tide. Shenmo used the Purple Cloud Chi Refining Secret Classic to capture and refine these spiritual energies like a giant hand, transforming them into inner essence. The Zixia Qi refining secret classic and the cloud and mist breath regulating method both originated from the inheritance of the Luoyun sect and complement each other. Shenmo initially tried the method of Qi refining, and the results were unexpected. In the palm of his right hand, the seed of the Hutian divine power, driven by the alchemy method, once again revealed the gourd imprint like a spiritual treasure. The green spirit gourd seems to be transformed into a miniature energy vortex, which continuously absorbs the essence of the spirit between heaven and earth. Shenmo's gourd mouth is like a miniature spiritual vacuum cleaner, sucking these spiritual energies into the mysterious seed inside the gourd. The pot god Tongyou. Although most of the spiritual energy is absorbed by the seeds, there is still a small portion that nourishes Shenmo's physique like a sweet rain. Although the initial spiritual tide was weak, the spiritual vortex around Shenmo expanded at a visible speed, like a greedy appetite, quickly devouring a large part of the old city area. The invisible energy sleeping in the old city area was awakened by this force and poured into the courtyard where Shenmo was located like a raging wave. The jujube trees and green vines in the courtyard are bathed in a vortex of spiritual energy. Although most of the spiritual energy is absorbed by Shenmo, there are still threads that penetrate into their vitality. The withered branches of the jujube tree bloom with new buds, while the vines shed their old skin and rejuvenate, injecting vitality into this abandoned corner. Although most of the aura was received by the pot god, the aura fed back to Shenmo was the purest essence, which could be directly integrated into his essence without his painstaking refining, making it grow rapidly. Shenmo's essence was like iron sand attracted by magnetic force, growing at an incredible speed. His cultivation this time was like the center of a storm, but it did not cause any waves in the old city area. This forgotten industrial area, due to its sparse population and mostly elderly population, naturally few innate cultivators can perceive this subtle change. However, although humans are ignorant of this, other organisms are not. In a dark alley, a Maine cat tall enough to walk silently, its massive body blending with the night, followed by a group of stray cats. Its green eyes flickered in the darkness, exuding a strange sense of mystery. However, when the gaze fell on the giant cat's head, the originally terrifying aura immediately dissipated by half. A kitten the size of a palm, trembling and lying on top of the Maine cat's head, tightly grasping its long fur, afraid of being thrown off. The Maine cat looked at its timid little king and helplessly covered its face with its paws. "King, you need to pay attention to your appearance." After listening, the kitten carefully straightened its body and looked around at the curious gazes, revealing a hint of shyness on its face. "Don't talk too much." The little paw lightly patted the big cat's head, and the little cat asked in a tender voice, "How long will it take us to arrive?" The Maine cat scanned its surroundings, with a hint of doubt flashing in its deep eyes. "It should be around here, but Wang, is your method of using express delivery boxes to locate really accurate?" The little kitten proudly raised its head and said, "Humph. In order to obtain that guy's secret, I went to great lengths to check his phone number and found the place where he picked up the package. His residence must be nearby. We searched door to door and we can definitely find it, Your Majesty. Could you describe the characteristics of that person?" A wise blue cat asked a question, with a hint of curiosity in its eyes. Upon hearing this, the little blue cat's original smile slightly restrained and appeared a bit nervous. But all I know is his name, Yunma. It quickly explained. Blue cat sighed slightly upon hearing this, with a hint of helplessness in its voice. "Your Majesty, you do not know the exact location, nor can you describe its appearance. Even if we know its name, what can we do? Do you want us all to inquire about someone's name?" The little blue cat suddenly let out its breath, its ears drooping weakly, and its face looked disappointed. This scene, however, made Blue Cat secretly breathe a sigh of relief in her heart. It is well aware of the immaturity of the little blue cat, and this adventure is not suitable for her. If there is a mistake, the consequences will be unimaginable. However, Blue Cat cannot disobey Wang's orders. The best strategy at the moment is to make little blue cat understand the difficulties in reality and dispel their thoughts on their own. The current situation seems to be developing in this direction. Just as the blue cat was about to further explain, suddenly it felt a faint but abnormal breath emanating from the little blue cat above its head. The fluctuation of spiritual energy is abnormal, and there may be rare treasures hidden there. The little blue cat's eyes sparkled with excitement. The words of the little blue cat flashed like lightning, and the blue cat immediately noticed that the surrounding spiritual energy began to disorder, forming a huge vortex, pointing straight to a hidden courtyard in the outskirts of the city. As a demon tribe that inherits their bloodline, Blue Cat knows that such a spiritual vortex requires at least a true lord or demon lord who can penetrate the secluded realm to trigger it. In this remote corner, it is impossible for such a powerful existence to suddenly appear, so this must be the manifestation of some kind of treasure. With the hint from little Blue Cat immediately realized that this was a rare opportunity. It looked back at its wandering companions behind it, roaring softly. In an instant, they seemed to have received instructions and dispersed, each seeking a safe hiding place. Subsequently, the figure of the blue cat merged into the night like a ghost, rapidly advancing towards the core area of the spiritual vortex. As the speed of absorbing spiritual energy from the divine seed in the body accelerates, demonized creatures in the entire city area also begin to gather, and various forms of monsters come in droves. P.S. Seeking comments, flowers, evaluation tickets, rewards, monthly tickets. Guaranteed 4 changes, 1 comment plus 1 change, 500 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 100 book coin rewards plus 1 change, 3 monthly tickets plus 1 change. Chapter 10. Tongyou Zhenjun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Here are the obese rat king surrounded by a pack of mice, the crow with feathers burning eerie flames, and the giant cockroach half a person tall, able to fly in the air. They surround the Shen mansion, greedily staring at the cultivation room, their eyes flickering with desire. As the first demon race to awaken their bloodline, they are well aware of what this spiritual vortex means. A precious treasure in heaven and earth that prolongs life, a natural spiritual object that enhances cultivation, and may even bear the seeds of divine laws. Each one is enough to give them a huge advantage at the beginning of the spiritual tide, break through ethnic limitations, and become future kings. Thinking of this, the greedy hearts of these monsters spread like wildfire. Compared to the local residents, the arrival of the blue cat was slightly delayed. When it arrived outside the courtyard, several demon beasts, a large group of mice, and crows had already surrounded the Shen mansion. The newly arrived giant beast, with its majestic image resembling a king of the jungle, caught the attention of other fairies. That huge body, like a moving mountain peak, even the demon-transforming tiger, who was born with the power of a mountain god, couldn't help but feel reverence for this newcomer. Despite its potential as a mountain lord, there is no royal imprint symbolizing power on its top, only a thumb-sized ball of fluff that instantly dispels the fear of other fairies. The size of the giant beast does indeed have an advantage in competing for resources, but it does not easily make other fairies give up their treasures in their eyes. Only the round mouse king, trembling slightly, cleverly integrated into the group of companions and avoided direct conflict. The kitten gazed curiously at the focal point of spiritual gathering, but when it discovered that it was a human dwelling, the previous excitement turned into disappointment. Ah, it seems that this is a domain with a lord. It murmured, feeling low. The giant beast's gaze slowly swept over the eyeing opponents, and its red tongue lightly licked its paws before calmly saying, "Your Majesty, with just your command, I will take it for you." The kitten immediately waved its paws and lightly tapped the giant beast's head. I have said that in order to survive in human society, one cannot violate rules, let alone seize others' property. The expression of the giant beast instantly changed from domineering to helpless, as if someone had exposed its shortcomings. "But I just helped you find his physical location, is this illegal?" The kitten was stunned for a moment, showing an awkward smile and defending, "He provoked me first. If it weren't for him, how could I have had the idea to go and argue with him? Moreover, I haven't found him yet, how can this be considered a violation?" At this moment, the endurance of the rat demon reached its limit, and their team surged towards the courtyard like a tide. The mice in it had shown signs of demonization, crazily gnawing on the wooden door, as they were about to break through. However, the people inside seemed unaware, and the noise outside did not affect their quietness at all. The kitten looked at all of this with a puzzled expression and asked in a low voice, "There are humans inside. They may harm humans. Should we stop them?" This time, the kitten's words were filled with pleading rather than commands, and the heartstrings of the giant beast were touched. Although it rejected humans, it still compromised and said, "Follow your will." It carefully lowered the kitten, and the stray cats on both sides immediately stepped forward, forming a protective barrier. The giant beast rushed into the group of mice like a fierce wind, instantly ending the enemies attempting to invade. The chaos under the wooden door gradually subsided, leaving only a mess stop. Stepping through the dilapidated battlefield, the roar of lions was as deafening as thunder. Then, a wild demonic force swept through the group of demons surrounding the mansion like waves. Such a majestic demonic power has attracted the attention of all the demons. They deeply understand that if this lion goes further, it will become a giant of the demonic clan in the realm of gasification. The treasures inside the house are free to be contested, but they must not harm humanity. The announcement of the golden lion echoed in the air, instantly igniting the anger of the group of demons. "What kind of divine do you think you are? I knew the cat race was just a human lackey. How dare you, this stinky mouse, insult us? Protect humanity, you traitor to the demon race." Faced with the mockery of the group of demons, the golden lion showed no fear, and its golden right paw gently brushed over the remaining bloodstains, with a cold and proud expression in its eyes. "I just made a rule, and if I violate it, I will die without a place to bury myself." The golden lion's decision suddenly froze the air, and the eyes of the group of demons flickered. Although they coveted the treasures in the house, they understood that a hard encounter with the golden lion was undoubtedly a stone with an egg. The demon group quietly exchanged glances, ready to compromise. Just then, a strange movement came from deep in the courtyard, a tile suddenly burst, and countless mice emerged like a tide. Among them, the obese mouse king was particularly eye-catching. It was supposed to fear the lion's might and hide, but unexpectedly commanded the group of mice to dig the tunnel. In shock, the group of demons rushed towards the courtyard without hesitation, completely ignoring the presence of the golden lion. The golden lion stood guard in front of the wooden door with a gloomy expression, intending to use its strength to intimidate it, but unexpectedly, the Rat King disrupted the situation, putting it in a dilemma. Even though they are powerful, they are unwilling to engage in a full-scale confrontation with the demon race for this. After a moment of contemplation, it took a step back and allowed the group of mice to approach the door of the cultivation room with the Rat King. The Rat King's small green bean-like eyes flickered with a greedy light, as if seeing a treasure right in front of him. However, just as the group of mice touched the door, an invisible energy barrier suddenly appeared, and a young man in a plain white shirt gently pushed open the door. He may seem weak, but in reality, no demonized mouse can ignore his existence and easily crush his throat. This ordinary young man held a seemingly insignificant matchbox in his hand, with a sparse number of matches inside, enough to make the Rat King mock his helplessness. A foolish act of dying struggle. The Rat King felt disdainful in his heart, but the next second, pitch-black cracks appeared on the surface of the matchbox, and a sense of unease quickly spread. Before the Rat King could react, those cracks, like living tentacles, instantly expanded, forming terrifying spatial cracks that engulfed the entire group of mice, along with the demon group attempting to follow them, into an endless abyss. In that turbulent field, neither torn limbs nor surging evil energy can shake the fragmented dimension. The group of demons are like ignorant moths rushing into the fire, disregarding everything and rushing into this shattered abyss. The cracks in the abyss are like a cold giant mouth, mercilessly devouring every demon attempting to challenge. Among them, a desperate scream pierced through the quiet night, like a thunderbolt. The power of shattering the void is the supreme being of nothingness. P.S. Seeking comments, flowers, evaluation tickets, rewards, monthly tickets. Guaranteed 4 changes, 1 comment plus 1 change, 500 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 100 book coin rewards plus 1 change, 3 monthly tickets plus 1 change.